Because if you don't have a job right now, or if you are trying to figure out how to pay the bills, even if you hear the president say we're on the right track and we've improved, you're still going to be frustrated about how slow the progress is.
President Obama, speaking from the White House at a time when the unemployment rate remains at about 9.5%. U.S. stocks seeing gains so far. Last check, Dow was up nearly 90 points at 10,411. NASDAQ up 15 at 2261. S&P 500 up 8 at 1101. You're listening to NPR News.
This is Colorado Public Radio News. I'm Mike Lamp. Colorado's race for governor could be getting a new candidate. Former Congressman Tom Tancredo says he may try for a spot on the third-party ticket. Colorado Public Radio's Megan Verlee reports Tancredo is also trying to pressure the winner of the Republican primary to drop out.
In an ultimatum issued Thursday, Tancredo said both Scott McGinnis and Dan Mays have until Monday to agree to leave the race if they win the primary. That would clear the way for the Republican Party to select a new candidate. If they don't drop out, Tancredo says he will seek the gubernatorial nomination on the American Constitution Party ticket.
Every hour that we wait is an hour.
Information about Natural Grocers by Vitamin Cottage can be found at cpr.org.
This is Science Friday from NPR. I'm Ira Flito. In 2007, a scruffy guy in a baseball cap went down into a Washington, D.C. metro stop with a violin. He set up his case, put in a few coins, and started to play. He fiddled for 45 minutes. Over 1,000 people passed him, and he earned $32. Not bad. That's about average for a subway musician. But this guy was actually Joshua Bell, one of the best violinists in the world. A few nights before that subway performance, he had played Boston Symphony Hall, and you can bet he made a lot more than $32. My next guest tells that story in his new book, How Pleasure Works, and he asks the question, why didn't people recognize his music as great art when Bell was playing in the subway? He says the reason why people enjoy things like music, art, sex, and food are more perverse than we may think. For example, why do we enjoy painful experiences like hot chili peppers, grueling exercises, or getting in that last word?
Then we said, how much would you own it if it was thoroughly washed before it got to you? This causes a big drop in how much they would pay. It's like they still want the essence of George Clooney on the sweater. This invisible property of its history, who it had touched, is what gives it value.
Yeah, 1-800-999-8255. You talk about your theory of essentialism in your book. It's an interesting theory. Share that with us.
Well, this is actually how I came to write the book. I'm a developmental psychologist. I'm interested in how children make sense of the world. And one dominant idea in that field is when children and adults, but even young children, name something or categorize something or make sense of something, they do so not just based on its physical properties, on its superficial features, but on its deeper nature, what they think is its essence. And what it is to be an essence differs from category to category. For a tiger, its essence is its biological kind, maybe its DNA. For an artwork of her sister, her twin, or some other person. Suddenly, this makes a huge difference, though, of course, the image itself is unchanged.
1-800-999-8255. Let's go to Mario in Lebanon, Ohio. Hi, Mario.
Yes, it's quite a pleasure to speak with Professor Bloom. I actually saw your course online, the EL Education, and I have recommended that to all my kids, and I look forward to reading your book. I particularly liked when you sum up one of your lessons about that things are the way they are because they got that way, and I believe your findings here probably fit into that as well. And there's a great book out which I recommend, probably complements your book now. It's called The Art Instinct by Dennis Dutton. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Mario, I'm running up against the break, so if you have a question, you'd better get it in.
Sure. Well, it's just my comment would be that I think we're in a great time because there's a convergence of multiple thoughts now, particularly with like behavioral economics, and you have economic signaling, which I believe kind of dovetails into what Professor Bloom has found. I just curious.
You know, that's a huge puzzle. I have two chapters on the imagination. One chapter says, look, a lot of the reason why we enjoy films and movies is because they mimic real life. They're reality-like. If you like something in the real world, you'll like it when somebody shows it to you on a screen. But why do we like movies and TV programs and stories that are aversive, that have, zombies and chainsaw-wielding psychopaths, or the death of children, tragedy? I think this falls under a general category of what Paul Rozin has described as benign masochism. We enjoy a little bit of pain, a little bit of suffering. And the reason for that, or one reason for that, is that we want to practice. We want to be able to deal with, to prepare ourselves. In the real world, you can't do that because bad things are dangerous and unpleasant, and you don't want to rub against them, even to sort of for preparation. But what fiction lets you do is it carves out a safe place for you to explore the worst sort of things that can happen. And I think that that's what a horror movie is, and that's what a tragedy is. Part of the pleasure is saying, I'm going to try out these real bad things in a safe atmosphere, and that will help me later on in life.
And the pleasure of eating really hot chili peppers?
You know, that I'll just guess. And because you know, that's not practice. You're not practicing for anything. The guess I'll give is it's like that joke about, you know, why is the guy banging his head on the lamppost? Because it feels so good when he stops. And I think part of the pleasure of hot chili or a very hot bath or a sauna is that delicious moment when you escape from it. And that delicious moment of escaping, feeling the heat subside, feeling the bath reach its perfect temperature, a little bit cooler than you started, is so pleasurable that it makes what goes before rewarding.
What
a desire to experience mild pain, and that it serves purposes other than sort of self-aggrandizing and self-promotion.
All right, we're going to take a short break and come back and talk lots more with Paul Bloom, author of How Pleasure Works, the new science of why we like what we like. I hope you're not experiencing mild pain.